I wanted to show you guys how I colored this puppy character from start to finish. So I recorded the entire thing, I squished it down into 4 minutes, and right after this clip, I'm going to go over the entire thing and tell you step by step exactly how I did this using Julia Color Magic on Instagram and TikTok's tutorial. Although she does post mostly like photo tutorials, so she'll post each stage as she goes, and I thought it might be helpful to have an entire video that goes over the whole thing right from the get-go all the way to the very end. This is the markers that I use for the entire thing. We have the lightest shade R50, the medium shade RV23, and the deepest shade RV33. And then I just tried to pick the acrylic markers that matched the best that I could find out of what I have to these markers. So basically I'm going to start by using R50 as the lightest shade wherever I see that there are going to be highlights on the page, and then I'm going to move into the medium shade to continue blending into the darkest shade, and I'm going to put the darkest shade wherever I see that there would be shadows, and I'm going to do that on every area of the puppy where I see that there's going to be light down to dark, just trying to make it as accurate as possible, even though I just started coloring not that long ago, so really I'm not that great at figuring out where the lightest and darkest shades should go. So I kind of just guess and go with the flow, and really I have to think about it in the way of like, this is coloring and it's really not that serious if I get it wrong and I put a highlight in the wrong place. So just on all areas of the dog, I'm going to take the lightest shade to the darkest shade, and I'm just going to blend them all together, and where I need to, I'm going to take the lightest shade and I'm going to go all over the rest of the area. If I feel like the blend is not very good into the darkest, I'll just take the lightest and go over the entire thing again, and I find that helps bring the entire thing together. So after I've done that to the entire dog, I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm going to stipple the entire puppy, and then I'm going to go into my acrylic markers and I'm going to go over all of the areas where I used my alcohol markers, and I'm going to use the exact match that I like, the closest match that I feel I could get, and I'm going to stipple along all of those areas with those same colors. So by the end of this, your dog is going to be colored basically in acrylics, and the alcohol markers are basically just for a base. I'm going over the darkest areas with the darkest acrylic, moving it into the medium, and I'm trying to avoid the areas on the puppy where you can see that there is black, like on his mouth and his eyes, while still getting as much coverage as I possibly can over the entire puppy's fur. And in some of these clips you can see, just like I did right there, I'm not only stippling, but I am taking the acrylic marker and I'm actually drawing over the black line with it, because a lot of the time the stippling is not enough to get the coverage that I want to hide the black line. So after I've gone over the entire puppy with acrylics, this is where I'm going to go back in with my colorless blender again, and I'm just going to stipple the entire puppy all over again. And this is just like all about layering, so I want to add as much texture as possible by the time that I am finished coloring this dog. After that, I did go in with a little bit of white charcoal pencil, but I wasn't too happy with it because mine are not very sharp, so it was just very blunt and I wasn't really happy with the results. So I moved on to the Jelly Roll pen, and that is where you basically take your pen, your white your paint pen, and you basically just scribble all over the entire thing. You kind of go in S motions, in N motions, in C motions, in U motions, and you're literally just scribbling all over the puppy, going crazy with it. And with this, you don't have to worry too much about like staying in the lines, because a natural dog's fur would obviously not be inside of lines. So if you go outside the lines, that's absolutely fine and it's still going to look completely normal. After the jelly roll, this is when you go back to your original alcohol marker shades and you go over the jelly roll just very, very, very lightly in the colors that you originally used. The reason that you're doing this is because you want to color over the white pen so that it doesn't just look like a bunch of white scribbles. Instead, it looks like individual hair furs. And after you're done with this, you're actually going to pick your Jelly Roll pen back up and you're going to add back in a little bit of what you've removed, but you're not going to go quite as heavy-handed because you still want to see mostly pink. You just want to add a little bit more texture, just as if you're seeing actual white hairs on the and then you're done. And that is it, y'all. That is how we got this result, which I am so absolutely in love with. Thank you for watching.